Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me love boy, what you know. Rufus boy, let me.
Hey guys, it's Renee, and I am so excited to be here. First of all, Happy New Year to y'all. I am excited to be here today to kind of discuss some things that are on my mind and on my plate, and some things that I hope to accomplish in 2020 with Book Girl Magic. And one of those things is to be creating more content and more videos for you guys. I know I started off the year strong with doing more videos, but kind of fell off just because being a busy sports mom, I'm at practices several days a week along with games and schoolwork, and life, it just gets in the way. And I know that many of you understand that. So I've gotten a little slack with what I needed to do and being on here, most importantly. But one of my goals for 2020 is to create more videos and hopefully bring them to you guys on a regular basis. Not sure what that looks like or what that means, but you know, once I get in the swing of things, I'll kind of have a better idea of how often I'll be getting you guys videos, but it will definitely be far more than what I had been doing. So, super excited to announce that. And super excited about the year that Book Girl Magic had in 2019. I mean, 8,000 of you loved my content and followed me on Instagram this year, and that just blew my mind. That you guys care about what I'm doing and you know, what I'm reading, and that was by far the coolest thing ever, is to just have the love and support of the Bookstagram community. So thank you all for that. That has kind of kept my momentum going and got me excited for what 2020 holds for us. And with that being said, one of the things that I'm kicking off 2020 with is a reading challenge. So Diverse Classics and I, if you guys know Anna over there, we've decided to come together and create a reading challenge that will celebrate authors of color. So we want to kind of challenge people and challenge ourselves, really, to read more books by authors of color, but also a variety, a different variety than what we're used to reading. So again, that challenge is called the Diverse Magic Reading Challenge. So we are super excited to bring that to you. We announced it on Instagram this week. And I'm just going to read through some of the prompts of what we're looking forward to. And if you look in the comment section, you'll see that I've provided links to more information in case you're not familiar with what some of these things may be. So, let's see. Sorry, I'm pulling up the prompt. Okay. So, the first one is Book Girl Magic Book of the Month selection. So, hopefully you'll be reading with us in 2019 or even some of our past reads. Again, I'll be providing the links for that, so you can look through our archive and see what we've been reading the past 2 years and select a book from one of our reads and knock that on out. There's also a book from Diverse Classics list. Anna has a great selection over at Diverse Classics, and anything you pick with hers, you can't go wrong. So that is the second prompt, and these are in no particular order. They're just 20 prompts that you can do throughout 2020, however you feel like it. Do multiple, you know, kill two birds with one stone kind of thing. If you find multiple books that hit multiple prompts, then do that. Go for it. Audiobook. So listen to an audiobook this year. A backlist book. So if you're not familiar with backlist, it's a publisher's list of older books that are still in print and have been on sale for more than a year. So basically anything written, you know, 2018 or before, you should be good to go. The next prompt is graphic novels or comics. And I'm super excited about this because I honestly can say that I've never read a graphic novel to date that I can recall. Now, they do take over my household. They are everywhere here because my little ones love graphic novels. When I tell you that it has encouraged them to read so much in 2019, like, I'm blown away. My son read 8 of the Dogman series books in like 3 days. He got them for Christmas and was pretty much finished with it 2 days later. My mind is blown. Like, I can't tell y'all. My daughter just finished the Lunch Lady series, or the first book in the series today. Moon Girl, you know, we have all the Captain Underpants. So we just love graphic novels. So I'm hoping to kind of steal from their collection and read one of their graphic novels. So to kind of knock that off the list. So I'm excited for that. A middle grade book from your childhood. So there's so many books to revisit, and so many books that I probably should have read or was assigned to read and didn't really read in high school, but shh, don't tell anybody. So I'm excited to revisit some books, some middle grade books that, you know, I should have read or want to reread. A poetry book, which I'm excited about that one as well, because I read some really good books by Alex L. So I'm excited to kind of venture on and maybe read another book of hers. A debut novel. Book you meant to read in 2018 or 2019 that you didn't get to. Now, if y'all are anything like me, then your TBR list is like to infinity and beyond. And I need to kind of knock some books out. I probably have more not even probably. I know I have more unread books than read books in my house. So I hope to knock some of those off the list, and I'm looking forward to getting to some books that I should have read the past couple of years. A National Book Award winner. Again, we will have these books listed, so you can find a list of what's on there, so you can kind of go through the selection and see if there's anything that might, you know, tickle your fancy. New York Times bestseller. Again, links included for that. Book from Oprah's book club. So she has like 83 or something like that when I was researching it today. So you can find a link for that and then pick a selection from one of her many books. Thriller or murder mystery. And I'm excited about this prompt because it's not typically a genre that I read a lot. So if you guys have any recommendations, please put some in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys recommend. Again, it should be books by authors of color. Romance novel. So while thrillers and murder mysteries aren't something that I typically read, y'all know that romance novels, it's my thing, like, period, point blank. So that one should be easy peasy, but there are some authors of color that I have not touched yet. So I'm going to try to pick a new author for that one. Book on feminism. Books by or with an LGBTQ author or main character. A book by a Nigerian author. I can't speak today. Book by a Nigerian author. A book you started but never finished. Lord knows I have a ton of those DNF'd books that I just could not finish. But I have one in particular that, not necessarily that I didn't like, but just the timing of it wasn't right for me. So I wasn't ready to read the book. So I'm excited to circle back, and I'll let y'all know what that is later. But I'm excited to circle back and finish that one this year, because that's definite. Like, I need to finish that book. It's a must read. Self-care or self-help book. And if you're following along with Book Girl Magic, our January book of the month is More Than Enough by Elaine Welteroth. Yeah, say that 10 times fast. But that is our January book of the month. I'm going to obviously post the picture so y'all know what I'm talking about. But that will be my self-care, self-help. So hey, you might be able to knock off 2 books with that if you read with us for January. Can knock off a Book Girl Magic selection and a self-care / self-help book. Super excited for that one. And last but not least, a 2020 most anticipated release. And African Book Addict actually released an awesome, phenomenal list of 2020 releases to anticipate. And the covers, you guys, oh my God, are freaking amazing. Like, I cannot wait to dive into some of these books. Some of them I actually already own, so I'm excited for that. But definitely looking forward to many 2020 releases, so I'm excited for that prompt too. So again, if you're gonna join Anna and I, use the hashtag Diverse Magic Reading Challenge, and we look forward to seeing what all you guys will be reading with us this year for 2020. So with that, I also want to kind of talk about some of the reading that I did over 2019. I'm excited because I read 58 books this year. And so last year, I think my record was 54. So I'm glad that I was able to kill that goal this year. Read 58 books. And if you give me a second, I can tell you more specifically what I did. So that was, yes, I'm using my phone as a cheat sheet. I read 17,212 pages across 58 books. So of that, 40 of 58 books were by Black women authors, 47 by Black authors, 51 total by authors of color. So I'm super proud of those stats. I mean, the whole purpose of Book Girl Magic was to increase my reading of Black authors, and then kind of became a celebration of Black women authors. So I think I'm hitting the nail on the head with my reading and my goals and the reason why I started this. So I'm excited to kind of continue that momentum. But you know, my Goodreads, I mean, I was just like scrolling through what I read in 2019 and just the collection of books. Like, I'm super stoked with what I have accomplished. I just felt like I had a really good selection of books, and I'm really proud of them, honestly. So I look forward to see what 2020 holds, because I've got a slew of books that are my must-reads for this year. So that, and then I kind of just wanted to do a December wrap-up. Since I'm here, I'm going to try to do these on a monthly basis as best I can. I tend to forget about books after I read them. I suffer from mommy brain, y'all, and if I'm being honest, I oftentimes forget. So I'm gonna kind of do a quick run through of the books that I've read in December. There were 7 of them, so I'm gonna kind of do a quick run through and see if I can kind of cap the books that I read the best that I can. So the first book that I read was Sugar by Bernice L. McFadden. That was our November book of the month for Book Girl Magic, but I actually ended up finishing it in December, so I'm counting it as one of my December books read. But that was such a beautiful story of Lacey and Pearl. Lacey, who's kind of this prostitute who moves from city to city and buys this house next to her neighbor Pearl, who's this older lady who lost a daughter to a tragic incident. And the two are just an unlikely pair of neighbors who should never have crossed paths, but somehow do, being neighbors. And they form this bond that is just absolutely beautiful. You know, Pearl is trying to fill the void because she lost a daughter, and Lacey's mom has been missing out of the picture, so she's trying to kind of fill this motherly void. So they both kind of come together and fill that void for one another, and it is such a beautiful story, and it's amazing to see their friendship kind of grow and become what it does. So that book rated 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. Recommend it. The next book that I read was Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. These tongue twisters, I promise you I suck. But this book was cute. It was a cute little rom-com. I did only rate it 3 stars simply because when I think of rom-coms, and I'm assuming that's the genre that it's classified. I don't know. But for me, I'm used to reading like Jasmine Guillory and things that are a little bit steamier and the characters are a little bit different. So I needed to come at this book with a different approach and not have expected that. So for me, I just needed more of that steamy, like give you goosebumps kind of feel when you're reading a book. And don't get me wrong, this book is cute. I know a lot of people raved about it on Bookstagram. It just wasn't necessarily my cup of tea. And so they're British. I listened to the audiobook for this one, so that could have thrown me off too. So I'm not quite sure. But I love that Chloe wasn't your normal character. You know, she was overweight. She was chronically ill, and she's a computer geek, and so I love those aspects, and that's what made her super cute. And she crossed paths with the maintenance guy, I guess if you want to call it, of her apartment complex, and they have like this hate relationship where they can't stand one another and just annoyed by one another, and somehow they end up needing one another, and they kind of, this friendship blossoms, and then it kind of turns into more and just kind of unfolds with this, again, unlikely pair that kind of comes together and forms this beautiful love story. So cute novel. But me, I'm just a little bit raunchy, I guess if you want to call me that, when it comes to my reading. And so I want the passion. I want, you know, the filth. Give me, you know, give it to me. That's the only way for me to describe it. I can't, it's a guilty pleasure. It's just, it's what I love. Give me the hot and steamy and give me goosebumps, you know. So I read that one. The next book that I read was The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. Brilliant book, you guys. Like, I really don't know why, but I waited the longest time to read this book. And, you know, it's one of those books that you see around, everybody's reading it, all the hype, but it's just like one book that I have so much on my TBR list and things that I need to get to. I just never got to it. And I'm so disappointed that I didn't read it earlier. Absolutely brilliant. Elizabeth, her narration is simply amazing. Her accent, the way she reads it, it's just so poetic. It's one of the most beautifully written books that I've read in 2019. And I will be hopefully releasing my top 10 books of 2019 next week, and that's definitely going to be one of them. It definitely is one of my top favorites of 2019. It's just, you know, she has a character called Xiomara, and the way that she just writes her pain and her pleasures, and it's just beautifully written. I don't know how else to describe it. It literally is poetic, and the story is just, you get sucked in. That's the only way for me to describe it. And so it's definitely one that I will definitely revisit and reread again. And yeah, rated it a 5-star. So if you haven't read that one yet, I know I'm probably like the last person in the world that hasn't read it yet, but if you're like me and still hadn't read it, go ahead and do it. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Another book that I read was Another Brooklyn. Rated that 4 stars. You know, it's set in the 1970s. It's about some girlfriends who have this one perception of Brooklyn and what it is, only to uncover that Brooklyn, that literally there is another Brooklyn, and uncover the dark side of Brooklyn, and that not everything that you see is, you know, it's not really what it is, kind of thing. I don't know how I'm trying to say that, but this book was recommended by Tracy over at the Stacks Pod, and Jason Reynolds is a fan of it. So that's what made me, between the two of them, that, you know, posting on Bookstagram and recommending it, it really made me want to see what it's all about. And Jacqueline Woodson, I read at the Bone, I think, in October. So that was my first book by her. This one was Another Brooklyn, was my second book by her. And so I was super excited. Haven't been disappointed by a book by her yet. So that's another one to add to your list. Short, quick read, but entertaining and keeps you on your toes, kind of thing. And then this one was our December book of the month for Book Girl Magic, and I'm excited to kind of go more in depth with it in next week, because we'll be discussing it on Wednesday. But I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings by Maya Angelou was simply, Maya Angelou is just, she's everything. And to hear her story and how she came to be the wonderful, phenomenal woman that she is, and just her childhood of growing up and being raised by her grandmother and her parents being absent, and then the trauma that enters her life once her parents are, you know, in her life, and, you know, being raped as an 8-year-old child, and just becoming mute after that because she just felt like speaking would damage the people around her and cause more trouble, so she just stayed silent. But it's such a beautiful story, and she's such a brilliant little girl, and I loved reading about her life and growing up, and is definitely one, you know, Oprah did the foreword and talked about how she could relate to Maya in her story. And I just think it's something that, you know, Black women, all women really, but particularly Black women should definitely read this story. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful story, and I'm so happy that I finally got to read that and partner with Diverse Classics on that December read. So I look forward to our chat next week so that we can discuss it more. And then the next book, and I'm sitting here laughing because I read this book called A Merry Little Filthmas, and it's by Nicole Falls. And this book, again, guilty pleasure, give me all the raunch, give me all the filth. That's my type of book. This book might have been like 60 pages or so, quick read, but literally meet in the laundromat, make a connection, have conversation, flirt a little bit. Next thing you know, the girl's knocking on your door. It goes down. Like, there's only 60 pages, so when I tell you that this book is just filled with filth, the title in itself says it, but it was so good. Such a cute little story, and it left me wanting more. Like, okay, what's next? Are we gonna, like, write another book? Are we gonna have a sequel? Like, are you gonna give me more than these 60 pages? So it was a good story. Good for Christmas and whatnot. And there's some characters that appeared in the book, and I heard that there's actually a whole series on them, so I'm hoping to go back and read those other books so that I can read some of her other work and learn more about these characters. But that was a good little quick read that I finished within like an hour. And last but not least, a couple days ago, I finished Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson to close off the year and close off my 58th book. And when I tell y'all I'm late to the party again with Tiffany D. Jackson, I'm late to the party with her and her reads, and she's simply just an incredible writer. Full of suspense and keeps you on your toes, and you're on the edge of your seat, not, you know, knowing what's happening. And it's just such a beautiful story that covers Claudia and Monday, who are the best of friends, and, you know, they go away. You know, Claudia goes away every summer, and then they come back, and those two are just like peas in a pod. But one summer, Claudia comes back and Monday is missing. And so as her best friend, she wants to know what happened. Like, this is her whole world. The two are like this. So it's like, where, excuse me, where's my best friend? You know, she wants to discover where she is, and she's asking questions, and people are telling her different things. And it's just this mystery. Like, how does one person just disappear in thin air and nobody is concerned or knows where she is? So, a 5-star read for me, and it was simply incredible. I am excited to read more of Tiffany's work just because she's simply amazing. Yeah, read two of her books back-to-back months and not sad about it at all. So I'm super excited about that. And that pretty much wraps up my December reads. You know, super excited again of the list of books that I read. And in 2019, I like I said, I've had a great collection of books that I read throughout the year, and I'm looking forward really to what 2020 brings. So, thanks for tuning in on my first video back, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Look forward to seeing my face more often, and kind of dive into this BookTube community with my reads. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.